did you notice that a certain Prince Harry flew from LA all the way to Shanghai to apparently promote greener travel?
In hot air balloon, or did he fly in an aeroplane?
I think it was a jet, don't you, Tom?
Right, OK. Well,
There's
Prince
a lot
Harry,
of hot air, though, isn't there?
He's made this surprise visit to China to give a speech highlighting the importance of sustainable travel, including a subtle dig at the royal family.
Challenges will undoubtedly rise. But if there's one thing that I've learned in my life, it's that meaningful change never comes easily.
Right, now the Times is quite usefully. Now, it's not known what flight Harry did take to China, and Travelist, the company that he's involved with, has declined to share their estimates with this newspaper anyway. But on average, a passenger travelling first class on a return flight from LA to Shanghai produces the equivalent of 6,311.32 kilos of greenhouse gas emissions. That's according to our Department for Energy Security and Net Zero. So that's quite a lot.
611 kilograms.
That's quite a lot. Yeah. And also, I wonder whether he's a bit of a useful idiot as well, going off to China to sort of, I don't know, he's lending his support, isn't he, really, for the way that they're doing things, presumably. At least it looks like that.
I just wish we were doing what China is doing when it comes to energy.
A bit of everything.
They have just this all... They are producing more solar power. By 2030, they will be producing more solar power than the entirety of America produces power of any kind. And that's just solar power. And the majority of China is powered by coal. But they're going all in on nuclear, they're going all in on hydro, they're going all in on solar, they're going all in on gas. I mean, they're just doing everything.
Yeah, which is fantastic, but you have sort of politicians going off there on all expenses paid trips, so coming back singing about how China is this fantastic green utopia and they're so far ahead of us and we should be following China with everything, conveniently ignoring the fact that they're putting a hell of a lot of money into the old fossil fuels as well as the solar farms.
Shall we get the thoughts of the leader of the Climate Party on this, Ed Gemell? Ed, what do you make of this issue? Because, of course, China is perhaps the number one country in the world when it comes to battery storage and solar panel production and all the rest of it. But a majority of China's energy comes from coal-fired power stations.
And I want to comment on that. Do you mind if we just comment straight away on what Prince Harry did?
Of course.
Let's do that as a start. And let's direct it directly to Prince Harry. Harry, stop being such a hypocrite. Get with the programme. If you're going to talk about it, live it as well. Now, he shouldn't have done that trip. It was ridiculous. He shouldn't have got on. He could have done it on Zoom. And he's reported as now doing 83,000 miles a year, which is going to take 1,000 trees to offset over the course of an entire 12 months. Absolutely ridiculous.
He could fit those trees in his California mansion. We've all seen the garden.
Absolutely. The whole thing, absolutely ridiculous. Shouldn't have done it. I mean, I haven't flown now for, I think, 7 years.
You haven't flown for 7 years?
Oh, my goodness.
But if President Xi, Donald Trump and the Pope rang me up and said, come on, Ed, we need you in a meeting because we're going to save the entire planet and sort out the net zero economy. Will you fly? All right, I'll get on that flight. But otherwise, I'm not getting on another fossil fuel flight. I'll get on it when they're electrical or hydrogen.
Well, we've been speaking about electric planes as well this morning, right. Ed Gemell, because they seem to be coming.
They are. No. I mean, this is the thing. I mean, this is the ridiculous thing about what Harry did. What he should be doing is saying, I'm not making that flight. I'll do it on Zoom because I'm waiting for electric. I mean, in Britain at the moment, both electric and hydrogen are starting to get there. Zero Avia at Birmingham Airport at the moment are putting in infrastructure for hydrogen refueling. Yeah. And they're hoping this year to already get flights off the ground, admittedly only 20 passengers, and domestic flights, so flying you over to, Belfast, Glasgow, you can get to Dublin as well. And that'll come now. And they're hoping by 2027 that they'll be flying up to 80 people over to the Mediterranean and other places.
Ed, you haven't flown in 7 years.
Bring his money, might as well.
I've taken a few flights this year. There's always a spare seat or two. I mean, you're not personally going to make a difference there. It reminds me slightly of Greta Thunberg, who got a bunch of Germans to sail her across the Atlantic to speak at a New York conference. But then the 4 Germans who sailed her there all flew back.
They did.
And so it sort of seems performative at a point.
Well, I think it is, but there's also the starting of a trend to something. And if none of us got on a fossil fuel flight this year, how quickly would Ryanair and British Airways convert to electric planes and hydrogen? We can actually do that. And if they did convert to electric planes and hydrogen, how far ahead would that get Britain in this new net zero economy? So we can start.
Or would it be the wrong time to do it? Because we all saw what the EU did when it demanded we change our light bulbs away from incandescent bulbs to those strange tubular things that were around for a few years that took about a year to turn on and never were quite so bright, and they were bad for people with poor eyesight. And then a couple of years later, LEDs came along that are so much cheaper, so much better, and had we not regulated the country to change to these nonsense bulbs in the intermediate stage, perhaps we'd have been faster adopting the better technology that came upon later. Is there not an argument to say that if we force all planes to become hydrogen now, there could be a better technology that comes in 2 or 3 years down the line, and we all look like chumps, we all look like mugs because we're on the worst technology?
There's always that argument, and I completely agree with you, but that's innovation cycles. We've got to force those innovation cycles faster and faster and faster forward. And let's come back to the original thing you set me at the beginning of the interview, and China. As you said, China is romping ahead in this at the moment. It is making all the money, and Britain is not. And the vast opportunities that are coming. I mean, only 2 weeks ago, the London Stock Exchange brought out figures showing the net zero economy is already 7.9 trillion in the world. And for a decade, it's been growing at 15% a year for a decade. Just imagine that growth on our GDP here when we're struggling to do 1%.
Well, isn't there a reason that market's been growing? Because it's had so much subsidy.
Governments have kind of forced it.
Subsidy, but remember, subsidy is really just a matter of carrot and stick. How do you spend your money? If you're earning a lot of money because you've got massive exports, you've clearly got a lot of money then to subsidize things. And if Britain had GDP that was expanding at 10 or 20% a year, don't you think we'd be subsidizing? Don't you think we'd be putting more money into research and development to get things going?
Ed, we could talk about the direction of travel, because it does look like net zero is, slowly being put on the back burner. I mean, but we'll get onto that another day because we have run out of time, Ed Gemell. But really appreciate your time, leader of the Climate Party there, and also hasn't taken a flight in 7 years.
Yeah, but some pretty strong words there for Prince Harry, which...
Well, he is just very annoying, isn't he? And also, I don't think people see him as a great intellect. So, he can go to these panels and do these speeches and go on these trips, but is anyone really taking him seriously in what he's saying about net zero?
For someone to be able to be a global figure coming from where he came from, the
glass ceilings,
the humble origin of this man who, through nothing but sheer intellect and hard work, worked his way up to the global stage, jet-setting around, telling us how to be just as climate conscious as he is. I think he
got a D in his politics A-level.
I got an A-star.
He got a D in his history A-level.
Got an A-star.
He got a C in his English A-level.
Did I take... No, I got an... Yes, I got... No.
Oh, well, Prince Harry's clearly smarter than you, eh?
I can't remember... No. I've genuinely forgotten what A-levels I did.
Well, it clearly didn't mean much to you. But anyway, if you want to travel around the world like Prince Harry, perhaps in a private jet or a first-class seat, here's the travel weather.